This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. We've talked to psychic mediums before. Always love doing it. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to be revealed, whatever's going to come up. She's a little bit different in that she takes it to other levels and not minimizing anything. Yes, she does readings. Yes, she can connect with the other side, but she's also involved in providing insight for, call it, investigations and things like that. Let's learn more about that. She's back with us. She is Stacy, the psychic, and digging into this today. How you doing?
Pretty well. How are you?
Very well, very well. Now, you've mentioned or alluded to some of the other work you do within the psychic niche that and the gifts and talents that you have.
Yeah.
You've do I have this right that you've worked with law enforcement on some particular cases?
Yes, I've reported to law enforcement and also certain intelligence agencies. Yes, I have federal agencies and local law to all the way up. So yeah, I have.
And that being said, when you work with them, does it start with a vibe, intuition, something you see, something you feel, and then you think, well, I gotta connect with them. I gotta let them know about this. Or sometimes do they come to you now?
Well, no, and that's another thing. I think other states have been more quickly to adopt talking to people that are gifted, that have abilities that connect and can be very useful. And I always tell law enforcement and intelligence agencies that using psychic mediums, psychic investigators, sometimes we're called, can be very beneficial and useful. And how it's been happening is sometimes I just get information starts coming in and I'm going, oh my God, and I try to pinpoint it. I meditate. I do a lot of different things to ground myself, center, make sure the information I'm getting in is correct. And sometimes it's just there. It's there. And I'll contact them. There was a missing person case and they were asking information and I just started getting in it and it just started coming to me. And it was in Frederick, Maryland. And I literally called them up. Now they took me very seriously. When I have called here in the Nebraska, the military, they did take me seriously off at Air Force Base. But I also provide them people they can call, verify, really make sure I'm the real deal. And and I have to put myself out there. And do I run the risk of people thinking, okay, yeah.
How do you deal with that? Stacy, how do you deal with that? When you're feeling it, you are fully convinced that you've got the vibe.
I just let them know. Once again, we talk about authenticity, and I'm there. It's real. It comes through. It's just, but I also tell everybody, and even when people are getting readings, whatever, if anybody tells you, and I don't care what profession they're in, doctor, lawyer, if they say they're 100% correct, they never get anything wrong, run the other direction.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I agree with you.
I always tell people that when I'm giving them information, could this be incorrect? Yes. But more than likely, if it comes in, for me, it repeatedly comes in. I get nudges. It keeps on coming in. And I keep on having certain energy, keep on coming in. Spirit keeps on nudging me, going, okay, this is it. And when it comes in consistently and repeatedly, I know. And sometimes I just know, bam, I'm there. It's like, no, this is true. I
Hmm.
get, my body reacts to it physically, spiritually. I react to it. Um, but I have called law enforcement. Them in particular, I did call them and I gave them specific information. And sometimes I profile literally. When I called Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, which is located in Bellevue, actually, Nebraska, I gave them specifics, and it was right on the money on the day that some things had happened, but it was on a different Air Force base, which I've talked about, Travis Air Force Base. But
Hmm.
I've been going to them, and yes, I'm putting myself out there, but I know I'm here to do this. And I'm hoping the rest just, I let it flow. What will happen will happen. You're always going to have people that are naysayers, and there's a lot of misconceptions about what people like myself and others do. And it's fear, it's ignorance, it's a multitude of other things. And once again, it's designed to keep people there. It's to
Hmm.
keep people in the matrix, keep them locked in. But there was a cold case, missing persons file at Seattle. And of course, that where I'm from and lived. Um, and I'm calling to say, hey, I've got information. And I called one of the family members actually with that, and also law enforcement with Seattle. And they did find him. Um, and then there's been cases here locally that I know absolutely there's more to it. They said it was closed, and I talked with one of the private investigator with one of them and a family member, and I said, no, it's not. This is not kosher. There are people that are not being, and yes, I am alluding to corruption, and I'm also alluding to people covering up things, and they know it. And
Hmm.
so they know it as well, the family. Um, so I know full well they're going to reopen it. And it's just, none of it makes sense. So it does not add up.
Have you ever had a
And
situation where you provided law enforcement with some information and they said, wait a minute, how could you even know that?
well, yeah, they're going to have some questions. And once again, I've had more of that issue here within Nebraska than I have had other places. I just say, look, yes, it could be wrong. But I would, if you're here to really do the job you're meant to do, which is protect and serve law enforcement, intelligence agencies,
Hmm.
ideally,
Hmm.
not always, ideally, the upright is what I call them, the upright ones. I'm here to help them. And, but ideally, you take all evidence, and what do you have to lose to check in? And especially somebody who's getting specific information that you need to check it out. And yes, sometimes the finger has been pointed the other direction, going, how do you know this? And it's like, I have no connection to any of this.
Mm.
It's just how it work. I have called ATF. I've gotten where bomb energy. I did that in Omaha. And I also have done it at Chicago. They were having some bombings there. I got in info. It's there. And I very upfront about who I am. I usually don't just quietly, I do say who I am, and I give the info.
Mm.
And it's like, you can get a hold of me. I'm an open book here. You can investigate me all you want. And yes, I have, unfortunately, sometimes the people closest to you are not a, support system whatsoever. Um, and that's unfortunate, but it's sometimes the case. But once again, we don't, in Western society, we don't separate out people who are truly gifted, psychically tapped in from the get-go. And I do believe, I say 4 or 5, but I believe from the moment I was born that this was already here, that I was doing this, seeing things, hearing things, knowing things, being told to be quiet.
Well,
Not
that
just because
said,
I was loud, but because I knew things I shouldn't have known at 4 or 5.
do you feel that if you've got something and it could impact somebody else, be it just a message for somebody, something for law enforcement, whatever it is, that you have to tell them, this is
Yes,
why I'm here. It
yes,
needs to be said.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely, unequivocally. Um, Once again, I am here, and I know people that are truly living in their authentic, their true course, their true north node, um, are going to ruffle a lot of feathers. And I've done more than that. Like I said, I have been threatened on many occasions. You know, I have had a lot of interesting encounters, and some of it not so hot. And then, of course, you do have some people that are thinking, okay, that's cool,
Mm.
what you do. Um, I also, as I pointed out, film music. So most of the musicians that I know, and I know a lot of musicians across the country, and a few from New York,
Oh yeah.
um,
Okay.
that are from there, and but that have played here and run through the circuit. So, but they know who I am. Uh, and what the heck, they get free coverage, so they don't care. And then also they know, and usually I also have the ability to know when somebody's going to take off and succeed. And I did that 2 or 3 times in Omaha, saying you're going to take off, and they did.
Mm.
And one of them, they're in Omaha. She performed with Darius Rucker, so her name's Jocelyn. Very talented, but there's so many. I would be afraid I would not be able to. A lot of local Lincoln and Omaha, both very talented. And I always tell them I would like to get them all together, but I know when people are going to take off, and that's the lighter side. But when we're dealing with the, corruption, cold cases, missing persons, literally a lot of corruption, and that is my forte. I remember somebody early on that was also psychic saying, corruption's your forte. You're here to do this. And I said, yeah, I've kind of been gathering that for many years now.
Why
I
do you
seem
think that is? Why do you think that's part of your psychic wheelhouse to uncover corruption, provide that kind of insight?
well, if you do believe in past lives, if you believe in just certain things, you are on a soul level. I'm not very religious, but I'm very spiritual. But on a soul level, there are things you're here to do.
Hmm.
And past life, I think I'm here to wrap it all up. Um, I think that there are things I've had with me many lifetimes, but I'm just fine tuning it now, honing it in. And once again, I think for most of us that are gifted like I am, and others, that the gifts come out over a period of time, and they slowly, and you perfect them. Not only do you perfect them, but other things come out so that you can do, and things that you specialize in. And not all psychic mediums are alike. We have
Sure.
things that we specialize in, and I've seen other psychic investigators are really good out there. And but I tell law enforcement and intelligence agencies, you need to incorporate everything. With the advent of DNA, we still even with DNA, we still need sometimes added help. And if they can give you specific locations, if they can give you more of the person, the perpetrator specifics, and there are times that I've honed in on that. But unfortunately, I sometimes run up against law enforcement that does not want to. I think, unfortunately, sometimes ego gets in the way, and other things as well. They get in the way, that there's a reason they're not wanting to listen to me.
But isn't
But
it ultimately, isn't it all about energy? And
yes,
you look at
everything is energy.
you look at hospitals now, some of them allow a Reiki master in to do Reiki. For anybody that doesn't know, that's energy healing. Um, and just for the best outcome, they'll have them in there. And it's not just for the patient, it's also for the doctors to make sure they're on point and their energy is in alignment for the best outcome when they perform a surgery.
Which I love to hear that, because actually that's what exactly, I mean, hundreds and thousands of years ago, they were,
Yeah. Yeah.
Native Americans were using these modalities.
And you know
And
why this isn't widespread? This is what I hear from medical professionals. Why not have somebody doing energy healing or just making sure the energy is right for a medical procedure? What do you got to lose? Is it going to nothing? The reason it's not more widespread comes down to one thing, and that's money. And that
yes,
is insurance companies afraid to allow somebody else in a surgical suite where they think that, well, it's just one extra person in there and that, you know, things could happen. Same reason why you
well,
can't have a
they're
family
not
member.
making any money. There's not a profit here. It's,
Well, I mean,
and that's,
and well, just for full understanding, not the insurance company saying we don't want to pay for it, because personally, if I was having major surgery, now that I've seen the power of energy and Reiki masters, I would pay to have one in there. What the heck not? I want the
yes,
best outcome. It's not about the insurance companies paying; it's about them not wanting to allow another person, call it a stranger, in the surgery suite just in case. That's what's going on there.
and once again, that does come down to money, though. It still is.
Well, ultimately, yes. Yeah.
It's about that. Ultimately, it's, unfortunately, and um, there's going to need to be a definite, and there has been a wake up call for all of us.
Mm.
But I also do some energy work. I did help somebody that he had some cancer there in Omaha. He wasn't able to get out of bed. I did some clearing and some work, and he was able to get out of bed.
Wow.
For He was up and running. He wanted to talk to me, and I said, "Oh, I'd be more than honored." And to me, this is a privilege for me. When this is the upside of it, is that um, I'm really, I I feel so honored and so grateful that I'm able to do this, uh, and be able to help people in this capacity. And if I can't use my gifts for that, what am I here for?
Mm. Mm. Well, we, as I understand it, we're here because we have a purpose, we have a talent, and we are to use those gifts and talents for the betterment of others.
Yes.
Yes, it's okay if you're compensated for your talents. That's how, and as a matter of fact, I've even talked to energy professionals, call it a Reiki master, whatever. Even if they give you a free session or they do something for you, they'll always ask for something in return. I once Venmoed a penny, $1. It was $1 to a person that did an energy session on me and said, no, you have to give me something because it has to be an exchange of energy. But it's believed that that's why we're here. We're here to learn, create, and help others. You're teaching us with your ability, but also helping on the back end, maybe help law enforcement solve a case, maybe get some insight, some clues of something that may have happened. Um, do people come to you asking to connect with their loved ones on the other side? Does that happen often?
Uh, Occasionally, yes, it does. I have people asking me. I also, a lot of times, I'll be just the other day, yesterday, I was getting energy in, but I knew these people, and it started coming in, and I got in specifics. I'll get in specific names.
Hmm.
Sometimes literally get in visuals, and I'll occasionally, not always, see the person there standing there. Not always do I. It's more about the energy and the energy of who they are, the essence of who they are. And but I'll get in specific names. And but I was, and she started to, and it was a good cry. She started to cry, but it was validation for her, and it was a good thing. This time it was a good thing.
Hmm.
And but if I can provide anyone peace, closure, comfort, then I know I've done my job. And
Hmm.
it Mandela says it's in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it. And it is. It truly is.
Yeah. Mhm. What did you do to make a difference? I don't mean you. I mean in general. What did you do to make a difference in somebody's life today? Think about that for a second. Was it
Yeah.
anything? Um,
Yeah.
I have a gratitude journal that I write in. I try to do it every day. I put it on Amazon, $9, not even kidding. And it'll last a year and a half. That's how many pages are in there. And there's different fields to fill out. Aside from what are you grateful for today? There's three things. Um, Affirmations, but there's also a section in there, your act of kindness. What'd you do? You know, holding the door open, that would count. You're showing kindness to others. I think we forget about that. I think we forget about
That's a
that,
ripple. It has a ripple effect. I
right?
mean, uh, one thing you could do may seem very small to you, but mean the world to someone
Oh
else.
my gosh, think of it this way. You go into a Starbucks and the barista is there and you just smile and say, "This coffee's great today. Your hair looks great, by the way, also. Thanks. Have a nice day." You may save their life. They may be going through just a horrible time, but if you feel it, say it. If the coffee's that good, tell them. Why are you holding it
Yeah,
back? I think our society, we're so afraid to say how we
right.
feel. You know?
Well, and because a lot of people, unfortunately, I've experienced a lot of insincerity, a lot of people that are manipulating.
Yeah.
And of course, we've heard all of the gaslighting, narcissism,
Uh,
sociopaths, psychopaths, which that's
Stop.
another
I
one.
can't take it anymore.
That's another one of my. That's
Uh,
another one of my fortes is I'm able to spot one,
yeah.
millions of miles away,
How do we
and I'll
find
know.
you? If somebody needs some insight, maybe it's some closure, maybe it's some connection, how do they connect with you?
You can find me on stacythepsychicmedium.com. And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook are the two best places. Occasionally, I am on YouTube and also on TikTok.
Cool. Thank you very much for today. All the insight and
Thank
the
you.
look the look behind the veil in terms of people with ability like yourself and some of the other things that they do that we might not even notice. It's not all about a reading. It's also about information as well. And we'll catch up next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful for being on.
Likewise. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.